If you build an entire website on the weekend, only to burn it down 3 weeks later, then this video is for you. If you think you need a whole new rebrand, and that's the reason why your business isn't working, then this video is for you. If you are diagnosed or self-diagnosed ADHD, then this video is definitely for you, especially if you're a business owner. I'm going to share with you a hidden thing that destroys businesses left, right and center. And it's something that I haven't really seen talked about, but it's something that's definitely come up in my business journey because it has been, and funny because I'm actually using the language for this right now, it has been by far the biggest self-sabotaging thing in my life. And it's when, I'm not going to keep you waiting, it's when we work to extremes. There's something about ADHD where we believe, and I'll give you a prime example, I have genuinely woken up on a Saturday morning and said, I am going to redo my entire LinkedIn. I'm going to come up with a strategy to reach out to corporates and get them on board. And I'm going to rebrand my entire subscription community. And then I'm going to, you get the idea. Oh, that was it. Create a course that will serve my current clients and help them solve a specific problem. And I've genuinely believed that I can do all of it in 24 hours, only to find myself sat in a coffee shop wondering why I'm frustrated, burnt out, and overwhelmed. And this was my reality for most of my life. And when I was younger, I'm 45 now, when I was a little bit younger, I used to be able to get away with this. I could put in the work. I could put in, excuse the saying, I could put in the man hours. And I would build teams around me. I was pretty good at sales. I mean, I literally teach sales. And I can make enough money to hire a team. But there was a pattern with every single employee I ever had. Within a few months, they would always leave. And that wasn't their fault. It was my leadership. And I mean it, because I would change the direction of the business more times than I had hot dinners. So if you are living in extremes, then this video is definitely for you. And what I mean by that is that you have this inspiration and you say, I am going to completely, it's like, wow, it feels amazing, right? This wave of emotion. I'm going to go for it and create the best business ever. I'm going to do $1 million this year. And then the other side of that wave, and I didn't know that it's actually the same thing when we work in extremes. I did it with YouTube last year. I said, I will do a YouTube video every single day, rain or shine, because this is what the gurus teach, right? If you want to break through, you've got to be consistent. You have to show up every single day. You have to break through, and there is some truth in that. But if you're doing it and your brain is like mine, you're severely off the charts ADHD, then what you're doing is you're setting yourself up to burn out, to be massively overwhelmed, or you're simply doing it with the wrong intention. And I believe, and I see this more than ever now, energetically, your intention always comes through. And when I look at the videos even from a year ago, I can see that I was doing everything from a place of survival. I was doing the videos to really push and force something to change. And the feedback was clear as day. The videos, oh wow, there's a beautiful, I just ran off, beautiful lizard there. So these days, I've learned not to live by extremes. And what I mean by that, and I still get it, my ADHD will kick in. And the reason why I'm doing this video is because it kicked in this weekend. It said, you're going to change everything and do X and do Y. But I've learned to observe myself a little bit better and to step back from the extremes, because I've also learned that they're both two different sides of the same coin, if that resonates. So the extreme of real depression, like being in the lowest place with your business, thinking, I don't know why it's not going the way that I want. I'm not bringing the clients that I want to work with. For whatever reason, it just feels like everything's failing. That's one side of the coin. And the other side of the same coin is that extreme motivation, that extreme, you just feel like, wow, this is how it should be. But it's the same thing. And it's taken several people in my life to point this out to me, only in the last year. And they said, Pete, you're a great guy, but you seem to work in extremes. You're a man of extremes. I've heard that several times. And I was doing this in my language, because your language, you spelling, you cast spells, your language is everything. And what I would do is I would say, it's the best day ever. Because I had achieved so much. But the problem is, with that extreme high, you're going to have a fall. And I could equally say it's been the worst month in my business yet. Last year was the worst year I ever had. And when you dissect it and you look at it pragmatically and you say, well, okay, can you define why it was the worst year yet? Can you define exactly, well, I didn't make as much money as any other year. Okay. Then that financially was a tough year. Okay, cool. But what did you gain from the year? Was it totally the worst year in every way? See, all these extremes, these always and never generalizations, they're actually quite harmful for our type of brain, our type of mind. So what I'm learning to do is to still make changes, not be stubborn and stay still with it all, but to do things more gently. If I have a target to do 2-3 YouTube videos per week, and that's a lot more reasonable. And I'm not thinking in these extremes that they've got. This is literally what I call a high impact, low effort video. I'm not going to do any editing at all. Wait, let me turn around. These dogs are going berserk. Wait, hello. How funny. Perfectly timed. Zero edit. It's quite muggy out here as well, so let me get away from these dogs. But I want to ask you some questions around this. If you can, this is where ADHD kicks in. I forgot what I was saying, number one, and number two. The dogs are hugely distracting right now. But it's about understanding how your brain works, right, and how your brain operates. And being kind to yourself and knowing that you only need to improve. This is something that's really helping me a lot this year. I look at my business and I say, okay, I don't want this silent killer in my business of extremes. It creates way too much anxiety, way too much stress. And every time you keep on making big changes in your business and you make a big announcement behind those changes, you actually lose power and you lose authority. Because what you're doing is you're saying to everything's signal, right? So if you keep changing things, creating new products, every time you do that, it seems exciting and it feels productive because you're doing something. But in actuality, what you're taking away from is the authority and the trust that you've built with your current clients, with your market. So I know why we do it. I mean, it makes logical sense. If leads aren't coming in, if you're not making as much money as you wanted to, it makes sense to constantly change things and to be dramatic about that. I need to change everything. But what if the answer is that the change is purely you? Instead of changing the outside, why don't you change the trust that you have on the inside? So what I'm learning to do is have this radical self-trust within myself, that I can turn off technology, because the answers I look for are not in Claude or ChatGPT. The answers I look for are within. And by turning off my phone each day and just having a little bit of time for me, whoa, it feels good. And this is one of my reasons for gently moving out to the countryside. I was living in the city and there's way too much stimulation for me. But ironically, a year ago, I forced to move out to the countryside. So I found a house. It was totally imperfect, totally impractical, huge house for one person. And it had no air conditioning downstairs, so it was insanely hot, had a leaky roof, it had black mold. And the animals, which are better off on the outside in Thailand, they like to be on the inside because there were lots of cracks and holes where they could get in. So again, it was that reactiveness. And I reached a point in the end of last year, I said, I can't live this way anymore. And it's been a journey over the last few years, to be fair. But here is the silent killer. It's when we live by its dreams. The best day, the worst day, got to change everything, got to build a whole new website. What if the answer is none of those things? What if the answer is to trust yourself on a deeper level, know you can do a great job with your clients, and this is the most important thing of all, that you can improve your business by 1% every day. If you can improve your business by 1% every day, and you can, whatever you do today makes the future of your business a little bit better. So you're not just in reaction, you're not just doing admin and being reactive in your business, you are actually doing one thing a day that improves your business by 1%. And this living more gently is a truly powerful thing. Alrighty, so if you've enjoyed today's video, then feel free to join my community. And yeah, we talk about this stuff every day because sales is an energy game. Have a good one.